So then topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. Nate's over there. He's going to be giving me names. But before we get to that, we're doing over and under on horror icons. And horror icons, you know what they don't have? Social media. Because they kill people and they don't want to get caught. But we do not kill people. So we have social media because we ain't got to worry about getting caught. Except for all that cocaine I have in my book bag at the moment. It's behind the laptop. They see the laptop first. Like, oh, he's just a computer whiz or some shit. People still say that computer whiz. They should. But nonetheless, follow us on social media. Hit the Patreon link. Give us some monies. If not, give us some monies on the Ko-fi account. Because that's just one-time donations. But let's get into this. What's the first horror icon?
First horror icon is going to be Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise.
Oh, okay, cool. It's interesting. I think the first Halloween movie is a little overrated. Not because it's a bad movie, not because the idea of it's bad, but because of the budget. It really shows in the filmmaking that they did not have any money for this movie. But the more the movies went on, the shittier they got until the last one. Because the last one was really, really good. So because of that, I'm going to say he's perfectly rated because he's had a lot of stinkers in his career. And like Michael Myers became comedic just because the mask looks so stupid. And the Rob Zombie one took his mask off and he's like, he looks like a jabroni. He looks like one of the people in LA that's homeless. You know, he doesn't look menacing. He doesn't look villainous. He just looks like something you just drive by because that's what humans do. That's why they're still homeless, because people don't give them money. But you should give us money. That's why we got a Patreon and a Ko-fi account. But yeah, so I'll say he's perfectly rated because even though he's been so comedic fighting Busta Rhymes, he went from getting kicked in the face to Busta Rhymes to scaring the shit out of me in the movie theater a couple years back. So I'll say he's perfectly rated.
Next up, we got Candyman from Candyman.
The franchise, you know, dude's got a trilogy on his hands, which is the reason why we're doing this video. He's got a new film coming out. I don't know if it's a sequel or a reboot or what it is. Tony Todd's is in the cast apparently. I can't wait for it. It looks incredible. Jordan Peele, he's behind the scenes doing some puppet work. I will say Candyman is underrated. He's got 3 movies. 2 of them are complete dog shit. But that first one, because it takes the story of this horror icon and gives it sympathy and still makes you hate the guy. You know, like you have sympathy for him, but you're like, he's doing a lot of sideways shit, you know. He doesn't talk a lot, but if he did, he'd be talking out his neck. But he's got bees coming out of his neck instead. Definitely, he's got some cool, like, charm to him, the Candyman 5 times gimmick. He's got the bees gimmick, the hook for the hand gimmick. But what makes him underrated to me is because he have this backstory and it brings up a conversation you wouldn't normally get from a slasher movie. Like, I can't name another slasher movie that brings up race, you know, or a topic of importance like that to start a conversation. So because it brings that element in there, it adds so much more to the movie, it adds so much layers to the movie, and it makes the movie stand out from all these other slasher films we got. So because of that, underrated for sure.
All right, next up, we have someone who is not a computer whiz, and it's Jason from the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah, I can't see him being a computer whiz either, but he fucking sucks. Like, I've never been scared watching a Jason movie. Even when they, like, remade it in 2009, that one wasn't scary either. I just think it's very gimmicky, and they made so many of them. That's why it's iconic. It's kind of like how I feel like some people feel about their parents and relationships with their partners. They're just there, and they've been in your life so long that you love them, but it's more of like a have to than a truly love this person. That's why I feel like Jason. Dude's been around so long. He was at the peak slasher craze in America that he was just thrown to the forefront, and that's why he's got ripped off so many times with the hockey mask and shit like that. Like when you see a parody, the dude's got a hockey mask because of Jason, which the dude's not scary at all. In one movie there's magic, the next one he's in Manhattan, and then he's in space. He's a jabroni. Jason, you're overrated.
Next up, we have Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
I'll say he's underrated because, man, he doesn't get parodied at all unless it's Rick and Morty. They parodied him. That was a good parody.
Very well.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch. Bitch.
Oh, bitch.
But they were smart enough to know this first movie is terrifying, but you know what he looks like. So we're going to pull back and go in a new direction. And at that time, horror villains were not funny at all. So they were ahead of the curve with the character. And Robert Englund, perfect for the character. All those one-liners are like Schwarzenegger worthy. He pulls a girl on the TV who wants to be an actress, says, "Welcome to primetime, bitch." He don't give a fuck. You can't call women bitches anymore unless you're a rapper. But he's a killer. He didn't care. He's killing kids, and you still like him. How do you kill children and people still like you? He's great.
By being Freddy.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise.
I'll say overrated. And I don't want to say overrated because the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is so good, so terrifying. Everything about the aura of that movie, so it's like gives me the willies. People need to start saying that more too, the willies. So to have this character to be so scary in the first film, and then all the other films are trash. I feel like they try to remake this movie every 5 years. Leatherface Origins. Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in 2006, and they had the Origins, and then they had the one with Trey Songz in it. And it was just like, he's not scary anymore. Like, all the momentum this character had in that one film went away. And it's unfortunate because I think that's a really good premise. And they could do a lot of cool things with this character and keep him, like, demented, keep him on edge. Because, like, the dude's insane. His family's crazy. They eat people. He's probably, like, screwed. He's definitely screwed up in the head. And there's just a lot of cool things you could do with this character that they don't. But people still put him on a pedestal. And for what? He doesn't deserve to be on a pedestal. Overrated.
All right, next up we have Jigsaw from the Saw series of films, because I don't want to say franchise over and over again.
Makes sense. See, this is hard because it's like he's not even in all the movies. He's only in some of the movies, and then the puppet, that guy, little puppet, isn't his name Jigsaw too?
The puppet?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Jigsaw is the puppet.
No, Jigsaw's the guy.
No, he has a real name.
Like
They're
John.
one and the same.
All right, but I feel like the puppet overshadows the man. So, I'll say perfectly rated because it's not really put on a pedestal like the Jasons or the Leatherfaces or the Michael Myers, but everyone knows them, you know? Like you went to a party, you're like, "Oh, Jigsaw." You say hello and that's all you need. And that sums up Jigsaw in pop culture today, so perfectly rated.
All right, next up we have Creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
See, I want to say underrated because no one talks about this guy. And, like, he's cool. You know, he's got Mr. Sandman or whatever the song is they play. But then the director's a fucking pedophile or a rapist or some shit. So I can't give him too much credit because no one watches the movies anymore because the guy's a sick fuck. So it's like, okay, like, you're like, after the one about the bus, no one talks about you anymore. Because your director's a sick fuck. So I feel like it takes away from the character because of that, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll say underrated because you can't, like, the art over the artist. You know, the story behind it's cool. It's an interesting character. The wardrobe, how he looks and everything is different. And the song. Mr. Sandman, like, that shit's fire.
It is. All right. Finally, we have Ghostface from the Scream franchise.
I'll say underrated because look at all the masks that cocksucker sold. He's up there in Jason Voorhees territory, and I think he would have been a bigger pop culture thing, even though he was huge in the 90s, partly because he was parodied from a scary movie saying, so because of that, I feel like he's definitely underrated because like since the 2000s and everything, like no one's talked about him. But if Scream would have been made in the 90s, I know like the charm of it is because it was made in the 90s and it has all this cliches to fall back on and make fun of. But if it was made in the 80s, when Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers was like peak, slasher movies were peak, I feel like Ghostface would be a part of that. The most underrated slasher in slasher movies, I'll say, because of that. Timing, man. Timing's everything.
All right.
But that's all of our slashers, horror icons. So tell me down below in the comment section, are you ready for the new Candyman movie? Did you disagree or agree with me on any of these? Who did we leave out? Because we left out a lot of people because part 2. It might come one day, we don't know. But we got to have some videos for Halloween, right? Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich